Good luck.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Addicts podcast, a show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I'm your host, Brando, right along with this podcast player, too, Mike.
Hello.
How's it going, bud?
It's going good.
I'm doing good, man. We got a good show today. We're going to be doing kind of what we did a couple episodes ago, where we took a look at the PSP. Only this one's going to be on the PS1, the original Sony PlayStation, and we're going to be diving into that. I actually got more information. I got this stuff, all that stuff on the PSP I did off the top of my head.
Right.
Stuff I looked up, stuff I remembered. But I wanted to get, like, what were all the launch games? What's some of the specs that this thing launched at? And what's the best-selling video game? You know, all this stuff. And then we're going to do...
That's a good question. What is the best?
You're going to find out. Because I'm going to say it here in a little while. But then, we also, since that's a system both me and you grew up with, even more extensively than the PSP.
Yes.
Instead of just listing some of our favorite games, we each did 10. And some of them may overlap. I'm sure some of them probably will.
At least one.
At least one, maybe if not more.
At least two, actually.
Yeah, I did post a picture up on Instagram. Did you see it? You don't.
I was getting ready to say no social media ever.
You need to help me out. I do all the work.
I told you I would do the Pod Addicts, Game Addicts podcast stuff. Or maybe I haven't talked to you extensively about it yet.
You've told me about it, but you haven't in the effort.
I know. I've been working a lot. I got lots of stuff to do. I've been coming in almost every Saturday, every Sunday.
All it takes to share our podcast is 30 seconds.
I don't have anything to share it on. I don't have any social media.
Use the podcast social medias.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay. Of course, speaking of social medias, you can check us out on all that stuff. And you can also download this podcast. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, welcome. We want to let you come in and let us watch us or listen to us talk about video games. That's kind of just what we do anyway. We're just hitting record. So if you want to check us out, iTunes, subscribe, review. It helps out. Stitcher, we're on there. Podbean, we're on there. Google Play Music. If you're like, I don't have an iPhone, I got an Android, I can't get iTunes. Well, guess what? If you don't have to download any other app, we're on Google Play Music. And then if you want to watch us for some strange reason, we're also on YouTube. We're getting a new camera soon, I hope.
Yes, and I'll have a furnished room.
Right. Well, this is now the third room in your house that we filmed in.
It is, and it will be the only one after this.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Of course, my room's a little bit tight, but we make it work,
Mm-hmm.
It definitely works for what we just need to do it for. And but yeah, go check us out and all that stuff. And if you stick around towards the end of the show, I might even remind you again.
Maybe.
A little bit of a nudge. But dude, I saw a video yesterday. Something I saw this got announced last week, maybe week before last, and I did not.
Like the first announcement last week?
There was an announcement last week on this, and I'd never even heard of it. And I just saw the screenshot of it and then just kept scrolling past it. Well, I got bored yesterday, and I actually watched the video for it, and it has me going,
What game is this?
It is a new retro gaming system.
What is it?
It's called the Retroblox.
Retroblox.
And before I show this to you, it is a modular system. Okay, so you're going to have your base system,
right?
And then it's going to support some formats, and I'll get to those in a minute,
right?
But then you're going to buy.
Are they add-on formats? Like, are you talking like you're going to buy a small module?
You'll buy a module so basically you can pick what systems you want this thing to support. So that way, so the Retron 5 it gives you all these options, right?
Right.
This thing, if you say I want to have NES, Super NES, and Atari 2600, you can just buy those, and you don't have to go buy the Genesis or this or that. You don't have to have that on there. So another thing is that this doesn't dump your ROMs. This actually reads the cartridge like a regular system, and then it goes to an emulation to up-res it up to 1080p.
So it filters it.
Essentially, the language that was used was a load grade emulation after the ROM has been read, because it isn't straight up emulation by dumping the ROM off the cart. It reads the cart just as you would a regular system.
Huh.
Now, the thing that made me go like this, and it actually connects with what we're talking about today. It has PS1 support.
Huh?
You want to see it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
All right. Okay, so let's scroll down here. This is the system right here.
Right.
Okay, this part is the system and it has a back. This part up here is the modular part.
Okay.
We'll see some how like other ways that like it works. And
I see a good game in there.
Okay, so here's a good picture of it right here. So this part right here is the modular part that you take off. The back part and the bottom part are
all remain. They're
so
stationary.
Out of the box without getting another modular. It supports Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, and PS1.
Wow.
And it upreses the PS1 games to 1080p, and it probably has the onboard memory to do so.
Now the question is, you have to remove each modular to play.
Yes, you
each
will.
Game.
Yes, you will.
Different. Yeah.
But as you can see, the module it comes with a controller. It comes with it looks kind of like I didn't get a good look at it in the video. Very similar to like an Ouya controller, where it's a 360 controller merged with the PS3 controller a little bit. So the sticks are down here like a PlayStation,
right?
But then the other stuff kind of feels like an Xbox a little bit. But then on the modulars, you have the little option to play with your original controllers.
Oh, with each system has a new. I got it. Okay, because that's the Sega, and that is the
yes,
that's
it is.
the Sega.
That is the
Sega,
and then this is the NES.
Yeah, that's NES.
But then like the Turbo Duo, which is this Turbo CD, PS1, right. Sega CD. Sega CD is a big one because Sega CDs are starting to they can fail pretty easily.
Right.
They're not very well built, and this is the first console that is offering CD add-on support for retros and the PS1 thing.
What are we looking at a price?
They haven't said the price yet because this thing is going to Kickstarter. Now.
Oh, so is there one actually built running?
There is one running. Okay, so this isn't like the Coleco Chameleon.
I was going to say, is this a Coleco?
No, not that. This has been at some cons, and there is an actual working prototype of this thing, and they've been all hush on this, and the two guys that are making this both worked for Insomniac Games and worked on Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
One guy was a producer for it. I don't know what the other guy was. I just watched the video last night, but they're going to have online support for this, where they're even going to work to get like third-party ROMs, where you can for example, let's just throw one out there, Konami, Castlevania. Maybe you can, if this thing's sells, maybe it can be like an online distribution, just like a mobile or just like whatever, and you can download Castlevania 4 if you don't want to pay the price to get the card.
Yeah. So we'll have so it's going to have obviously.
Oh, here's how it steps
right
on there. It just slide it right on. And then this is the
that's the module.
So far, it supports NES, SNES, Super Famicom, Genesis, Mega Drive, TurboGrafx 16, and PC Engine, and then Atari 2600.
Right.
I've heard that, and then the Sega CD, Turbo CD, or Turbo Duo. Whatever, TurboGrafx CD.
Yeah, good luck finding any of those around here.
Not around here.
Not around here.
You don't even see TurboGrafx games too much around here. But the big kicker for me is PS1. I mean, granted, okay. So check us out. If you
this goes through the HDMI, correct?
Yes.
So we're talking that we could capture.
Probably.
So this could be another
way to capture
device.
And it's going to have an online database with.
I like that database there.
This is what the main menu looks like. Again.
You can't bring it up, can you?
Not really, because I'm on the actual website. I saw some bigger pictures of it.
Thunder.
But yeah, I mean this seems really cool.
So I'm wondering if on the purchase of these games, how is that going to work?
Like online?
Yeah.
I would assume it's just like a digital download.
So it's going to be, well, I figured that, but is it going to be, so we're talking like if most of these games that went mobile, let's say Final Fantasy IX, which looks much better on the mobile version than it did on the PS1.
Maybe so. Maybe you would get that
You
version.
think you can get that version?
That'd be nice.
I see an SD card slot.
SD card slot, some USB, because obviously you can upgrade the firmware, and then it's going to be connectable to the internet, so I wanted to
My biggest question about this is what are we looking at on
That's
price?
mine.
Oh, I had to move it. I didn't drink it.
They haven't said anything on price. Now, the guy that I watch on YouTube, he's the guy that made the video about it, Gamester81. He said that the guy has told him an idea on the price, but he's not going to tell it. The Gamester is not going to say it because he wants to let them do it.
Right.
Because apparently they are slowly releasing information on this every week. They don't want to put it all out at once and just kind of overblow you with it. So he said the price is reasonable for what you're getting. And so here's my thought, okay?
I'm thinking 200.
I'm thinking this, okay? Because you're looking at a modular thing. So you're looking at a certain price point for these and a different price point for this.
Right.
Now, you probably can get a bundle where you get at least one module.
I'm assuming that it will come with one module. And I bet there'll be different packages. So you'll be able to, your starter bundle, Super Nintendo, NES, blah, 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 blah. But that's what I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay, so here's my thought, okay? If you just get, I'm going to price just the base.
The base?
The base, okay? I'm going to price that at $80 to $100 just for the base. And then for one of the
I would say more because think about how many of the CD-ROM.
I understand that.
That's a lot.
I do agree. But then if you charge the modules $30 to $40 for each module, that'd
be worth it.
You would then be, if you wanted them all, you would have to pay for it. But for me, I'm going to want the ones that I want. I'm not going to get the Atari one. No offense to Atari, I don't really have a retro fascination for Atari.
Right.
That's just I didn't grow up with it. I mean, if they had, and that's just the thing is that I'm thinking about this on a capture thing, but I'm also thinking about it as I can't always sneak back to the back game room to play games. That's dad life.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking another way to play these games on an HD TV without, the Retron's fine, but this one speaks more to me because it's not dumping the ROM. And it's a little bit more like legit. And then, the big thing that speaks to me is PS1 support.
Yeah, the PS1 support's really good. Mine is because I'm a big fan of the Retron Fine. I like it. I hate the controller, but the idea is great. This would be almost a better solution. You can Twitch.
You can stream it right off of Twitch.
It's looking better and better the more we read into it. I'm thinking, to be honest, this might be my Retron 5 replacement. Because the Retron 5 has this really bad thing where it likes to catch all your carts. So it hangs them up and you're jerking them out. What is that?
That is the TurboGrafx.
Cool
thing about this is that the TurboGrafx only has one controller slot.
And now you have two.
Now you have two off the bat. You don't have to get a multi-tap or anything.
Yeah.
Well, at least I think it did.
Yeah, back to place.
It'd be interesting because this opens it up to it opens it up to demand because
there's all the modules right there.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to see all of them. That's turbo, and these are. Oh yeah, that one. So
that one. Yeah, so it's like, what is that?
That's a big one. That's Neo Geo.
It's the Neo Geo.
So all the really big cards for Neo Geo that cost like $200 a piece, and then you need the Neo Geo system. It might be on here.
I'm wondering what if you bought? See, because those carts are expensive. Those Neo Geo carts are expensive.
Yes.
So what if
cheaper now, but
you got the module for it, and then you could play. You could buy, $10 download.
See, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Make a partner with Neo Geo to make that happen.
Because you're talking, those games are hard to find, and they're pricey for a budget gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be fantastic to get to play those games that we normally would not put our hands on.
I'm going to read this. This is the thing here.
Okay.
With Retroblox, the one console future is just around the corner thanks to Element modules, which are compatible with real retro game cartridges for an unprecedented number of systems like NES and Genesis. It includes an optical disc drive compatible with real CD games for systems like PSX and Sega CD, with online connectivity that rivals next-gen consoles and an elegant user interface that modernizes the classic gaming experience in 1080p HD. The ultimate living room-worthy retro console has finally arrived. Another thing that they've said...
200. I'm feeling 200.
That'd be fine, though.
It would be fine.
Now check this out. They did say that they're looking that their system is powerful enough to run a lot of modern indie games.
That's what I was looking at. Modern indie games. I mean,
so that it's quite possible that you could see something like Shovel Knight.
And you're talking about being able. Are they going to make it to where like you could play Super Mario Kart online?
Online, I know, probably not online.
That would be sweet.
But they did say that because of how they're doing, not dumping the ROM, that will solve the problems of playing games that have like compatibility issues with like the Super FX chip, like Star Fox, Doom, or Super Mario RPG that have some retro console compatibility issues that don't read them well.
Yeah.
This is hoping to solve all that. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show this to you and kind of surprise you with it because I just saw it last night and I thought it'd be cool to talk about.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to save our save states on the SD card due to the fact that my Super Mario RPG needs a battery change, and I don't really want to do it.
I would hope so. Okay, so the fact that the design of this console and the thought of this console is being dealt with people who have actually worked in the video games industry.
Yeah.
That leads me to think that this is going to be a lot more credible and a lot more successsul than the Coleco Chameleon, who was headed up by a guy who was just in the retro community and ran a magazine.
Right.
Well, that's just me. One thing I was going to say, the module thing leads us to a point where they can create modules for systems that based on demand. So you could actually have a more modern version or a module for like the Atari Jaguar if enough people wanted one.
Right, and then you could also do one for the handhelds.
Yeah, potentially.
Potentially, you could do handhelds.
You could do one for all the Nintendo handhelds, maybe even DS.
Because I would do that. Would be good too.
But see, okay, so there was something that somebody pointed out, and this is something that has been a problem for PlayStation emulation for some time, is that you need the BIOS, and apparently the BIOS can be copyrighted by the companies.
Right.
So when somebody commented on the video, they actually responded. They have a BIOS-less solution to playing these games. However, they are looking at reaching out to developers to see if they would make the BIOS available.
Right.
And it goes, if not, we still have a way to play them, and it's not infringing on any copyrights. So that is what is really cool, because PlayStation still, they partner with some of their third-party people like Square and Capcom and whoever to make these the PS1 classics available. Like the PS3, Vita, PSP can all play these games, and you can buy them online digitally. But now it's like I've got quite the collection of PS1 games, and I can just pop it in and play it in the living room, and it's going to be upgraded to HD. And granted, okay, so like the PS3 doesn't really upgrade it. If you're going through HDMI, it's going to be in kind of 720, but it's not upgrading the game any.
Right.
It also it also has filters for you to be able to mimic an older,
like the Retron.
Yeah, like where you're able to put scan lines and mimic older TVs and everything. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I just figured we would cover this because the PS1 thing, I'm like, that's perfect because what we're talking about. Also, they mentioned the 3 CD formats that they're real CD games.
Right.
So that means that I don't know if that would potentially mean that they could put in support for the what's the one I'm thinking?
PS2?
Oh, no, not PS2 because that's DVD. They do have some CD based stuff.
Right.
Few. I'm trying to think of the 3DO.
3DO.
And the Neo Geo CD, which is basically just a Neo Geo on CD format that takes longer to load. Maybe some Philips CDI, but that one's not as popular. I mean, it's just you can't do Dreamcast because that's GD-ROM. That's completely different. So it'd have to have a completely different GD-ROM, laser and all that kind of stuff. But
it'll be something to follow and see where it goes.
Exactly, dude. Anyway, we're gonna go right on to the PlayStation. So, where were you at? Oh, I just clicked on something I wasn't supposed to click on. 2D graphics. Where were you at? So when did you get a PS1? The original Sony PlayStation. Did you get it closer to launch, or did you...
I think I got mine, on launch day.
On launch day?
Maybe. Let's see.
Okay, so the PlayStation launched in Japan on December 3rd, 1994, and North America on September 9th, 1995. And it launched with games including Battle Arena Toshinden, Warhawk, Air Combat, Philosoma, Ridge Racer, and Rayman.
Nope, I didn't.
And it was priced at $300.
Nope, I didn't. I got it whenever Jet Moto came out.
Jet Moto. Okay,
Jet Moto was just new, and my dad was like, we need to get that.
We are going to have to check and see when that came out. Let's go to new tab, and let's type in Jet Moto.
Release date.
I'm thinking 96.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
Let's go here.
Really?
Yep, 96 was his first Jet Moto.
What year, or what, it doesn't say month?
No, it just says, it was released on October 31st, 1996.
That's when I got mine.
So, you either got it then or around.
No, I got it then because I got it, the Jet Moto was brand new.
I got mine,
I thought that was at launch, but
ironically enough, I got mine around Halloween 1998 because I had a choice by this point. I could get a PlayStation or an N64, and 3 of my friends owned N64s. None of them owned PlayStation until the summer of 1998 when my friend William got PlayStation.
Right.
And didn't get a memory card. And I remember because we played a basketball game and we created people.
And never had to keep creating them.
Well, he left it on all night and then he turned it off. I'm like, my guy! But, dude, the PlayStation blew me away. I decided to get a PlayStation. And you said your first game was Jet Moto?
Yep.
My first game was WWF Warzone. And I remember it to this day. It wasn't Halloween per se. And if I go back into the calendar, which you can do, if you go back into the 90s, go to 1998, go to October. It was October 23rd.
Specific.
October 23rd. Maybe it was. Maybe it was the 30th. Because our Rankin always had Halloween on the Friday before Halloween. So no matter what day it was. And so Halloween was on a Saturday.
So you had it on Friday. So that's when you got it.
So it was October 30th.
It's ridiculous.
Almost 2 years to the day after you got yours. And me and Rob went trick-or-treating. And he was going to spend the night. We were going to play PlayStation all night. But we couldn't figure out how to hook it up because my TV didn't have the AV inputs. We couldn't figure out how to make it work with the VCR. So the next day, my dad went and got me an RF modulator or a adapter. And then I played, forever. But that's when I got mine. And then it came with a demo disc. And yours came with one too?
Oh, yeah.
Mine had a video. It wasn't a demo, it was a video. And that video led me to the first game that I ever rented. Resident Evil 2.
Oh, wow.
Scared of it.
I tell you what, though. Those demo discs were good. Because you could pick them up for, remember, every time you got the PlayStation magazine, it came with a disc. I got the magazine almost every month.
That was the official U.S. PlayStation magazine.
Yeah. And that's how I used to check out games and get games. Nowadays, you just watch people play them. But
watch them play, because there's not even too many games that actually have demos anymore.
Nope.
Maybe betas or something like that you can sign them. By the way, by the time this goes up, it's going to be over. But the For Honor beta has been going on all week.
It's right now.
Matt has been playing that. He said it's pretty cool.
I was thinking about downloading it myself, but I'm doing a lot of moving around this weekend.
Yeah, and it ends tomorrow because we were on.
I might check it out because it's a cool game. I wanted to check it out anyways. It looks really neat. I like the guard system, and it looks cool, and it's going to be gory, and yeah.
Says here the console was an immediate success in Japan, selling over 2 million units in its first 6 months on the market. In the U.S., it sold 800,000 units in 1995 on 4 months on the market, giving the PlayStation a commanding lead over other consoles of its generation. Only the Sega Saturn was out at this point. Though it was still being outsold by the older Super NES and Sega Genesis. Its launch price was $300, and
I want to say when we got it was when it dropped down. So that would be around Thanksgiving time.
So maybe closer to the holidays.
I'm going to say more closer to the holidays because I remember my dad coming home and saying, hey, we're going to get this. Like, he was more excited about it than I was, and then I ended up, he was like, this is fun, but I don't really like it. And I was like, oh my God.
Here are some technical specs which I know nothing about. CPU, 32-bit, whatever that is. RISC MIPS.
All right.
2 megabytes of RAM with 1 megabyte of video RAM. It can support up to 4,000 sprites at once, 16.7 million colors, 180,000 polygons per second textured, and then 360,000 per second flat shaded. And then the resolution was 480i at most. Now, so there was, where was it? Oh, systems. So the original launch system, and I have mine here, looked pretty close to this.
Exactly like that.
I have the second model.
So do I.
Because there's actually a picture on here of the first model. Because the first model had extra.
Oh, so okay, I got you.
Okay, so you had your AV out,
right,
and then you had regular AV, like just straight AV. Well, hello.
Yeah. Wave.
We're trying to do a podcast in here. You had your serial, and then you had your as it says parallel I/O, but this is like an expansion bay. And I don't have my door anymore, unfortunately, but like on the back, I don't know if you can see that. But that's the AV, serial, and expansion. And then the first version right here had just straight yellow. Straight AV. Like if you just had like AV to AV, you could hook it up that way. And then the last version of it got rid of the expansion bay. And this is one of the original, really dirty. I can't remember where I got this. I never owned an original PlayStation memory card, Sony brand.
I think I had Mad Catz.
I've got a performance one down here that I think is one of my original ones, but this is the first system that really introduced memory cards.
Yes,
where you had to use them because I think the Saturn had some onboard memory and it had a memory expansion card.
Right.
So there's the system, and here's the original launch controller. Look familiar. It was very inspired by the Super Nintendo because the Sony PlayStation was supposed to be a collaborative effort between Sony and Super Nintendo, or it was going to be a Super Nintendo with a CD-ROM add-on, and basically Sony was going to be able to release their own games for it and put it out. It was going to be competitive with the Sega CD.
Right.
And then Nintendo kind of backed out of the deal after Sony had announced it.
Yeah.
Sony announced it, and the next day Nintendo said, "Nope, we're actually partnering with Philips," and Sony went.
Sony's like, well, we already put all this time and money in developing this, so you know what?
It took a couple years, but they put it out. And the original controller, it has almost all the buttons of a Super Nintendo controller, except added two more shoulder buttons to the R and L. And then it doesn't have a D-pad per se, it just has 4 directional buttons.
Right.
And so that's a bit different. Start and select. The face buttons, the iconic face buttons, got rid of the letters.
Where it all began.
And we have cross.
Cross, not X.
We all call it X, but it's cross, circle, square, triangle. And the reason for that is that back in Japan, circle means yes, cross means no. So like on the Nintendos, this was the A button.
Right.
That meant confirm. So that was this. And then this was supposed to be like a menu button and then a view button.
Right.
None of the games really did that.
Nope.
However, like if you ever play like FF7 or anything like that, This is the confirm button.
Yep.
This is the cancel button.
And this is your menu button.
And this is your menu button. It's not your menu button. But like, it's funny because when you go to play 8 or 9, they've switched it to where more Western games were using this button as the confirm button. And the controller that I got was not that one. It was the DualShock. Now, there was a controller before this one. In between the one I just talked about, the original slim one, and this one, there was another one. It was just an analog controller. It didn't have rumble.
Yep.
And the sides of the controller was a little bit longer.
And
the
it didn't have the large...
It didn't have the large ones?
I don't think it had the large ones.
I don't know. I'd have to look up a picture. But the sticks were different. They were concave. Like an Xbox style. And, of course, this is the first DualShock.
It's the first rumble.
This is the first. I don't know.
For PlayStation.
It's for play because I can't remember. I think Nintendo might have innovated Rumble. Didn't they?
With the Rumble pack.
Well,
there's
right.
an expansion pack.
But this one, that was one of the reasons why Sony put this controller out, because the N64 had the stick. They were like, well, we got 2 sticks, and like we got Rumble 2.
Yeah.
This is the style controller I had, and this style would pretty much stay the course of time.
Yes. That pretty much solidified it.
Until the PS4, it was the same exact, and like there was no difference other than maybe some weight.
Right.
But I've got
internals, but outside of that, yeah.
I've got another one down here, just a variant of that, and it is a green one.
It's a Mad Cat.
No,
it's a regular Sony.
It is a regular Sony, and it is a green one, and you can tell it's PS1 because of the style of controller port. It is because I have another green one that is black, so it's PS2. It's a DualShock 2, and I don't know how many of the colors they had. I got this at Goodwill.
For $1.
3.
It's not bad.
Oh hell no! Because I mean, when you touch and feel the sticks on the other one, I got that at Disc Replay for $5 because I just wanted an original gray one, because I've got another one that kind of comes with the slimmer system, but I wanted a gray one. I had this one. This one's really nice, man. I mean, it just, if you feel the sticks on this one, it's really loose.
They're not. This is loose compared to that. Those are stiff. So everybody knows what we're doing.
One thing I used to do, probably PS2 era, I would sit there and I would go. Anybody who doesn't know, that's like a Metallica thing. I'm saying anger. I would do that just to bug one of my friends. So, there was another system that came out. This was the revision system. I don't know when it came out. I guess I could look it up. Gosh, I gotta do stuff.
Right there.
Yeah. Hey.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Go backwards.
Release date. I gotta actually click on the name of that one.
It's the PS1.
In July 2000. And of course, it ended up coming with a LCD screen if you bought the combo pack.
Did I tell you that I found the screen but couldn't afford it?
No. Where was it?
The bitches.
That's funny how we just...
Guess how much you wanted for it?
How much?
100.
Let's go to eBay.
That would be what her price is off of.
Probably
like 20 years ago.
Well, okay, because those screens are getting harder to find. They really are, because people gut them. And they use those screens for projects, especially for like custom portable consoles. Yeah. I don't know if you ever watch any of those YouTube videos where they make custom N64 Dreamcast portables. They use that fucking screen.
See, this one sits down inside of it, and the screen goes all the way over to the top.
Here it is. PS1 LCD.
Let's see if it's the same one. Nope, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that specific one. It was the black one that the PlayStation fit down inside of.
Because this is the actual screen.
Right.
And so you could buy it separately. And they buy it now for $85. Trust me, it would be awesome to get.
But this one was the black one. It was about this big, and the speakers were on the side, and you set it down inside of it, and with clothes like that.
Completely different. Okay.
Yeah, it's completely different. It must have been a third party.
I like how it would just me leaning over to get stuff. So this is the Slim PS1, PSONE, because the PS2 was out in Japan, but it wasn't out here yet. It would come out in a few months. This was the slim down model, and the DualShock re-release is pretty much the same as the other ones, kind of a redesigned little controller port. Now, however, they did do systematic redesigns of the innards of these. If you ever clean these or want to buy one to gut one to put in another one, please note they're not all universal on the inside.
Right.
We also found out the hard way on the PS4's controllers, because I replaced my sticks and one of yours with the Xbox One sticks because
they're just they're more superior.
They are. But then, when we tried to do it to your Darth Vader controller, they had kind of did an update on the inside of those controllers.
Yeah.
And that was before they did the PS4 Pro and Slim controllers that are it's another revision.
With a light bar, which is a clear. It's actually just clear.
Is it just clear?
It's just clear on top, and it shows so you see the color. Because I always said when we got it, I was like, "That's stupid. Why is the color down there? I'm not gonna look down and flip my controller up to my face to see the color." But
this system, man, is so small. It looks like just a little bit bigger of a portable CD player from back then.
Well, yeah, and I told you when I got mine, the only way I'm buying one is if I find one of the slim ones for a right price. $40 later at a thrift store. Was.
I bought this from Rob. I bought this, I don't know when I bought it from him. If I bought it when I bought the Wii U and the Xbox, I might have, and then the GameCube. But unlike the other ones that has a power and reset button, it's just one. It's just one button.
Yeah.
And then they have the little open button. It is seriously though, this thing is so tiny. And then the PS2 Slim would go even tinier than this, really. So much. It was paper thin.
It was paper thin, but it was longer.
And honestly, that is a good one to bring up, too, is that's a good PS1 system to get, is the PS2.
Yes.
It is completely backwards compatible with every PS1 game, including the memory cards and controllers.
Yes.
And so you can even go into the little system settings, and you could, some games would even load faster. If you click the increase load time, and it would even smooth the graphics out a little bit. So yeah, I mean, lots of different systems variants for the PlayStation, and then we're gonna talk about. I had it up here, and I gotta find it again. Software somewhere. I'm gonna hold up the entire podcast looking for this.
Where is the software?
I don't know.
Keep going. Wait.
Models. Hardware. Regional. Software. As of June 30th, 2007, 7,918 games have been released worldwide, counting games released in multiple versions or multiple regions as separate titles.
Wow.
As of March 31st, 2007, the total shipment of games totaled up to 962 million games. The last game for the system to be released in the United States was FIFA Football, or soccer. 2005. However, special reprinted remastered versions later years. Metal Gear Solid: The Essential Collection was released in July of 2007, which had the first Metal Gear Solid game reprinted on the PS1 disc, as well as it came with 2 and 3 in one box set, and that was one of the few PS1 games that ever got a DVD case release. Because if you go to some retro stores like Disc Replay, sometimes if they don't have the case, they'll just put a DVD case, and then they'll custom print. And they have websites now that do custom designs that use this original artwork, but they're just kind of redone to make it fit. So Metal Gear Solid, Capcom released Resident Evil the 15th Anniversary Edition in 2011. So you got the original discs for 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
And then Square Enix released the Final Fantasy 25th Anniversary Ultimate Box in Japan, containing all the Final Fantasy titles, the majority of which were in the PlayStation format.
I didn't even know about those.
They have them here in town. There's one over at Gaming HQ.
You're right. There is. I do remember now.
And then there was one. Oh, no, wait. No, Disc Replay didn't have it. My bad. There was something else I was thinking of. So, speaking of games, what do you think is the highest selling PS1 game of all time?
highest selling PS1 game of all time.
All time.
Right? I don't know. I mean...
Make a guess.
You're going to make me guess.
I'm going to make you guess.
I don't even know where to begin.
5, 4.
I'll say 7. I knew it wasn't.
Close.
Is it 8? 9? Oh, no way.
Gran Turismo.
Well, that makes sense.
10
I own 2 copies.
10.85 million copies shipped. FF7 was 10 million. Gran Turismo 2 is in 3rd.
Nice.
For 9.37 million. And 4th, Tekken 3.
That was my other...
8.5. And then
8.
Final Fantasy 8, 8.15. And number 6,
wow.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone if you live in America.
I never even would have thought of that.
Well, I mean...
Like, that Harry Potter would be on the list. Now, the other games, I definitely...
All right. Think about when that game got released and how big Harry Potter was.
That's true. Kids were all over it.
It was right at the beginning. Because what was... A couple books were out already.
Yeah.
And the first movie came out. It was like a craze. And it never really stopped.
You know what's funny? Slide down there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like on your list?
And 5. 5 are on my list.
It's funny. There's a couple on here on mine too. Now,
I actually have to add one in here.
Yeah, we are definitely going to go over our list. Well, I don't know what time we got. We are on 45 minutes of this podcast. Well, actually, 45 minutes since I hit record. We actually sat here for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, there's... I mean, 7,000 overall games. I think in North America... In North America, individual games, I think, is somewhere around the 1,500 mark. I am totally swinging from the hip on that. Totally swinging from the hip. Now, are you ready to go over games?
I'm ready to go over games.
All right, I'm going to go first. I actually have 3 honorable mentions.
Guess how many I have?
3?
4. Well, 3. 3.
You're going to cut one off.
Yes. But it's okay. I wanted to stay at 3 and I made an adjustment.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yes.
First honorable mention. Jetmoto. Jetmoto. Yeah, it's very interesting that this is your first game. This is my original copy. And my dad, a guy that he worked with at Bell Helmets, that's where he worked. Obviously, he worked with him at Bell Helmets.
Hey.
When I got the PlayStation, this guy, I don't know if he was just selling the games to get new games or just, I had these games, I'm done with them, I'm getting out of the hobby. He would come home every couple weeks with 2 or 3 new games for me. And one of them was Jetmoto.
Great game.
I got a lot of games that way. I got even some sports games. NCAA Football 98, Triple Play 98. Love that freaking game. SimCity 2000. Tomb Raider was in there.
Great game.
And then also 3 strategy guides. One for Tomb Raider. Actually, no, 4. Tomb Raider, and then one guide that had a bunch of games in him, like Need for Speed 2 and the original Resident Evil. Full walkthrough was in there.
I had one for Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2.
I didn't even own the game at the time, but I knew everything about the game when I bought it because I'd read it so much.
I kind of did that with MGS, where Rob had a Tips and Tricks magazine that had a walkthrough for it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know everything about it, but I knew I was looking at some boss fights. So I kind of knew some way, like once I said some parts of the game, I knew that I was getting ready for a boss fight.
Right.
Or like I knew what boss fight was next from that. You go ahead.
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
Now I grouped these together with like all of the type, that same type of genre, like Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal 3. What do we got here?
4.
Well, I didn't play 4 that much on the...
4 wasn't very good. 3 and 4 are not very good in my opinion.
Vacation.
They had Vigilante 8,
Vigilante
1 and 2 on
8.
there.
Yep.
What's that? I know what you're talking about. Road Trip.
Road Trip, I've got it out there. Vacation 2012.
Yeah, I never really got into those. There was one. I do have one game that is Twisted Metal like, and it's Star Wars it's Star Wars themed. I'm trying to remember the name of it though.
But I love this game because this is what me and my cousin used to do. We just blow the crap out of each other for hours, playing it. And a lot of my games are actually games that I played with my cousin because he lived with me for a long time, and we always did a lot of stuff together. So a lot of these, as weird or odd as they may seem, for the type of gamer I am.
Oh no, dude!
There are definitely reasons.
Trust me, there's going to be ones in here on my list that either are going to be games that we've either already mentioned or games that are going to make you go, "Really? I didn't know that you would pick that." My next one, honorable mention, Siphon Filter 2. Siphon Filter is an action stealth series, third person, and they are just fun. They're fun to go through. They're fun to go through and just shoot people up. And I picked the second one because this is the one I probably played the most with my buddy Jason. We played this so freaking much. The first one I rented and liked it. And then the second one came out, we both played it. The third one sucks. I am so disappointed in the third one. The story took a turn I didn't even like. The gameplay was fine. It was pretty much the same. I'll never remember just sitting back and laughing at this damn series. The taser, come on. It was so much fun. So stupid, but fun. You sit there and you could shoot them with a taser and hold it, and they would start zapping and they would just burst into flames. It was so much fun. So much fun. Great game.
Cool Borders 4.
Cool Borders 4. It's very specific.
Yes.
Because they had like 5 of them.
The Avalanche one. Where you did the chase to the Avalanche. I believe that was 4. No, that was 3.
I don't know. I have Cool. I think I have Cool Borders 2.
But there was we played the crap out of that game to see who could get the highest score. It was, man, that game was fun. I don't even remember how I got it. I just one day, I think my dad was like, "Hey, I bought this because it's snowboarding and it looks cool." And we played it forever. Hours.
Last honorable mention for me, Driver 2. Driver 2. Now, this is another game that me and my buddy Jason played a lot. And this game really revolutionized, well, Driver series, the first two, revolutionized that open world driving game. Because it was, in my opinion, because of these games that then when we got GTA 3, it was a down third person driving mode instead of just being like the God view overworld.
Yeah.
That they did for the earlier GTAs. And this game is so much freaking fun. You can do so much. The Driver 2 is the first one where you can get out of your car. And then,
but you couldn't use the weapon that was in your shadow.
Like a little gun
with a silencer on it, but you never used it.
And when you stole a car, no matter where you were, because you could, I think the towns were Chicago, Havana, and Las Vegas. Oh, and Rio.
Rio, yeah.
And no matter where you were, you just pull a guy. Hurry! He's always the same guy.
Yeah.
I swear, one time I pulled a guy out there wearing a dress. Hurry!
Whoa!
You keep it.
Keep it to yourself, pal.
Yeah, but they also had secret cars in each level.
Yes.
I remember for Chicago, it was in the ball stadium.
Yeah.
And
right in the center too.
Well, you had to like go to one of the parking meters and hit that button, and then go all the way around into the field, drive inside, and go inside the building.
Yep.
A lot of fun.
Mine was a game I never owned, but I had the demo. Armored Core.
Hell yeah.
I played the crap out of that, and I never got that game. The original Armored Core.
I know you've been on the lookout for it.
Yes, and I cannot find it. I have
it'll
2, 3.
You have 5?
I have 5. I don't have 4.
Didn't you buy 5 and there's like 2 different versions of 5?
I got the Verdict Day and 5. There's like the 5 and then Verdict Day. There's actually like 4 different ones.
I remember playing the original one on PlayStation. I think I rented it. I rented a lot of games.
So did I. I rented a lot of super games. Super Nintendo games. I rented
some of those. See, I had a lot of friends that had a Super Nintendo, so we had like a little trading ring where it would be like we would let people borrow games, and that's how I played a lot of those. PS1, not so much. I rented more. This is the era. PS1 was the era where I rented a lot because I said me and Jason played those games. He got a PS1 after I did, and then I might have borrowed some games from him, but it kind of seemed like the N64 was the big hit with the kids, right? And slowly, all my friends went to the PlayStation. So we're getting ready to start the top 10.
Yes.
And I will go first. My first, number 10, Silent Hill. Silent Hill. So, what's so great about Silent Hill? Man, they were able to do, what's the word I'm looking for? Environmental fear. What's the word I'm looking for, dude?
Environmental fear. Like the fear that the environment was going to crumble?
No. It's like they were like, even at this level, like when you're moving across the level and it just your immersement, even at such a graphical level, like you were like gripped with fear and when nothing was around you yet. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Suspense or anything. They were able to do
an eerie environment.
It's kind of like where people are complaining about the new Resident Evil. It's there's less enemies, but there's more like aura. There's more of a fear of your surroundings than it is.
Right, you never know what's around the corner.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just remember those little kids with like the daggers. Scared the crap out of me. I don't know what it was, dude. Again, the PS1 is an era of awful voice acting. Yes. And this is right among them. But this is also the era where they started doing a lot with like cinematic storytelling, where you had FMVs, you had like, where the game would just kind of like pause and take over and show you like a little movie in-game engine, Right. This was released by Konami. Konami. And it was pretty much an answer to like the Resident Evil series, who had a couple entries by this point. It says on the back, copyright 99. So it came out later than I thought, actually, in the life cycle. Your number 10.
Dead to Rights.
Dead to Rights?
Mm-hmm.
That's a PS2 game.
Is it?
It is a PS2 game.
The one with the dog?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes, it is.
Nope. I never had a PS2. There's no way. I'm going to argue.
Nope, you're going to be wrong. (2002).
That's the one where we had the dog.
Yep. It was a timed exclusive for the Xbox, and releases for the PS2 and GameCube followed thereafter.
Wow. I don't remember owning that on any other system but PlayStation.
It wasn't on PlayStation.
Because I never owned a PS2. Well, we'll scratch that off and use Crash. I don't remember that being.
You must have played it on PS2.
I never had one.
Yeah, you must have played
it. I had it on GameCube.
I don't know how much you would think this was on PS1.
I had to play it on GameCube then, but I remember playing on PS2. Or PS1. I don't know.
Original Crash.
Original Crash. The original Crash. The second, I wasn't fond of Warped.
Warped was the third one?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Second one was good too, but the original Crash was great.
I mean, yeah, the Crash Bandicoot games are awesome.
I still can't believe I got that wrong.
Got the double check.
I didn't have time. I've been busy with stuff and things.
You had all day today to think.
Yeah, and in Trump world, I totally had that time to think while everybody's ranting and raving about what Trump's doing.
Wait, hold on. So they're actually ranting?
They're just yelling and screaming about everyone else that's against Trump. It's the normal. Anywho, so since I was wrong,
you said
dead wrong.
You were dead to rights wrong.
Dead to
My
rights
number
wrong.
9.
Yeah.
My number 9. Final Fantasy 9.
That low?
It's number 9.
It's number 9. All right. Does that mean 7's number 7?
It might be. I don't know. It might be. Final Fantasy 9 is great, man. Final Fantasy 9 is, honestly, out of the first 9 or 10 Final Fantasies, the best playing Final Fantasy.
You think so?
I think so. The graphics are freaking amazing and still hold up to this freaking day. I played this not too long ago. They still look great. This game burnt up some PS1s. It would run.
Oh, yeah.
It was released late. I want to say it was November 2000. Yeah, it's 2000. And it came out around the same time as, like, after the PS2 launch. And then, so I remember, I really do remember playing this. This is, good story here. You can technically say I beat this game the first day I got it.
We made the purchase of owning the game.
Yes, because I rented it for 2 weeks. And then when my dad finally got it, he got tired of renting it. He bought it for me, and I got it home, and I was talking on the phone when I beat it. Yeah, I was like talking with my buddy Jason. Like, hey, I just beat this game. I better hang up so I can watch the ending. I think the game is fantastic, and it's, I tell you what,
one of the better Final Fantasy stories.
Oh, it's a great story. It's great character development. I love some of the stuff that they do in this. And I'm hard pressed because if it wasn't for nostalgia, this game's better than 7. And that's my opinion. If it wasn't for nostalgia, I have a deep nostalgia for 7. And 7's story has a lot of flaws in it. And this game...
Bad translation.
Bad translation, bad localization. This game is damn near flawless.
I'll give you that.
By the time they made this game, I mean, okay, this game would have been as great if they hadn't made 7, if they hadn't gone through 8. If they hadn't done all that to get to this point, to make 9, to learn how to use the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay. That means I just think 9 is a superior game. That doesn't mean that I rate it higher.
Right.
Because, as I said, nostalgia does play a factor.
I don't have it on my list because I already have a Final Fantasy on my list.
I tried.
That's why it's not on mine.
I definitely tried, and I couldn't leave it out because I knew for a fact you probably weren't going to have more than one. And so you could put that in an honorable mention, but I think it's better than that. And
that's why I didn't do it.
When I go back and think about my top games, that's on there. That is definitely on there. And honestly, I've grown more fond for it over the years.
Right.
Gosh, I love that game.
It's a good game. It is a very good game. So mine...
Is this a PS1 game?
Yes. This one actually is.
Okay.
Actually, the rest of them are.
I hope so.
Jeremy McGrath Supercross 98.
There you go. That's actually a PS1 game. Yeah, dude. I never played those.
We played as so I lived in the country, but in a kind of like a cul-de-sac. It was a dead end road, but everybody had kids around the same age. So one of them got this game, and they would bring it over to my house, and we'd all sit down in my room because I had a room that was kind of off away from everyone else. And we could fit everybody in there, and we would sit and take turns racing each other at this game, like the entire age group around where I grew up. So this game's got a lot of good memories.
The only time I've ever seen that game is an advert on the back of the manual for WWF Warzone. I'm serious, yeah.
It's a fun game. Now that you look at the graphics, you're kind of like, oh man, that's terrible. But
my number 8.
Number 8. Is this a PS1 game?
I have all of mine with me. Unlike someone here.
Mine are actually in that other room, but I didn't drag them in here.
Apparently not Dead to Rights.
I do have Dead to Rights, but I do have it on the GameCube.
Tekken 3.
Eddie. That's all I can think of when I think of Tekken 3 is Eddie.
Yeah, he's like the little
he's
the Brazilian fighter.
Yeah, the Brazilian dance fighter. Yeah. That's what everybody freaking used in that game.
Tekken 3. This was on the demo disc that I got on my system, and I played the crap out of it. Loved it. And then when our small town got an arcade, it had Tekken 2, and then I was like, it's not Tekken 3. Because the Tekken 3 is, I mean, this is my shit. So I was on the demo disc, and then I rented it a few times. Never owned it until later on in life. And I like how the little manual has like a holographic Tekken logo.
Yeah.
Tekken series is good, and this one is, in my opinion, the best of them. Even though they've released other ones, I've never really cared for them after 3. I'm not really into fighting games that much. I like Street Fighter 2, Tekken 3. That's about it.
Yeah. I like some of those, like the side-scrolling fighters, but...
Oh, you mean like the little side-scroller beat-em-ups?
Yeah, like I like those.
Well, I mean,
no. The side-scroller fighters, where you were literally side to side and you would fight
2D fighters.
Fighting.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying like the Final Fights and stuff like that.
No, not Final Fights.
I thought that this was a really cool Tekken. By the time they got to Tekken 3, because Virtua Fighter did the 3D fighting first.
Yeah.
But Tekken took it and made it great. And by the time I got to Tekken 3 and you had that little guy dancing around, that is crazy that they were able to do all that stuff.
God, I hated that guy. Everybody picked him and they would literally just sit and just smash buttons on the thing. You're like, come on, man. Alright, so number 8 is a PlayStation game.
That's good.
Road Rash.
Road Rash. Hell yeah, dude.
Me and one of my neighbors played this all the time, and I love the chain. Like, it was so brutal for what it was. Like, you could do the chain, like wrap them off their bikes and pull them down on the ground. And
I want to say I played crazy. Road Rash 3D.
Yeah.
So is that the one you're talking about then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there.
Road Rash 3D, because there was a few of them on PS2.
Well, there was Road Rash and then Road Rash 3D.
Well, Road Rash 2 and Road Rash 3D, and then Jailbreak was the last one. I don't own Jailbreak. Road Rash 3D is the one that I played a lot. It was fun.
We played all of them. We had all of them amongst all of us, so we played all of them.
I only ever did play the third one. I think I own the second one.
I love them. They're great games.
They're not a series that I'm like going out of my way to get. I guess I could look it up, but I don't really care. Yeah, I don't care.
7. Is it 7?
7.
It better not be.
Is.
It's not 7.
Crash 2. Crash 2. Cortex Strike Back. Now this is kind of my copy.
It's Rob's copy. When
that was the nickname my wife had for years.
Yeah.
And she had an original launch model PS1. Her dad got it to play golf, and she got the first Crash Bandicoot. And so, this was in 2005 or 6. I went to GameStop and bought her Crash 2 and 3. They were still selling PS1 games then.
Yeah.
On a very small section at this GameStop. And I bought them for her. And she wrote her name on it. And I never just erased it because it's history.
It's history, yeah.
And I bought them just for her. I don't even know if she's ever played it. I'll be honest with you, I don't think she has. But
Crash.
But I played the heck out of the second one. I didn't play the first one until later because by the time I was when you go to rent a game and you know that you have only so much selection to choose from and only so much time to look.
Yeah.
And you see Crash 2. And you're like, well, I've never played it before. I should probably play the second one because it's the newest version.
Yeah.
And so I'm not thinking about storyline because I'm like, this is obviously a run and jump platformer type game. So
that's kind of like jumping into Gex 3 and be like, what's going on here?
Well, but see, then like X1 is completely different side scroller. So yeah, Crash 2.
Jet Moto. Surprise!
Oh man,
all of them. One, two, three. It doesn't even matter. They were just. I wish they would remake the series.
I wish they would have made more, man.
I want a new one bad. It was such a fun game.
They're different. I mean, it's something. I mean, as obviously,
and tell you what, that was one of the hardest games to get those freaking power pole turns coordinated down. You couldn't just and wrap around the corner. You had to like coordinate your lean, your turn. Oh my god! And it incorporated different weights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some
different
of the different
accelerations.
Some of the different. I can't remember what they were called.
The motos.
Pods or.
Well, yeah, they're jet motos.
Some of those weighed differently, so they weren't as fast, but they could turn easier. And
then the water, when you went to the water level, they wouldn't bounce as much. They would smash the waves a little harder, so you could stay down. Because the biggest thing with jet moto is you want to stay on the ground and get as much speed as you could. Great game.
Oh yeah, man.
I wonder if 6 is the same one for us.
6 is for me.
Nope.
Twisted Metal 2. Twisted Metal 2. This is my original copy.
So far, I'm seeing here 1, 2. Well, there's the honorable mentions, but yeah.
Okay, so I don't remember who wrote this. Doesn't look like my handwriting, but my handwriting is just as bad. Somebody wrote my name on the back because obviously I let somebody borrow it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And this is my original copy. I bet the disc is super, super scratched. Little.
There's a little scratch, not terrible.
Twisted Metal 2, man. This was another one of those games my dad got me.
And look, inside.
Yeah, the ad for
Jet Moto.
Because they're made by the same guys. And actually, you can get one of the Jet Moto levels on here with a code.
Yeah.
And you can play around in it. It's like the swamp. Or
I hate
something
that
like that. But Twisted Metal 2, I absolutely love the game. I got it in a triple pack with Tomb Raider and FF7.
That's a good pack.
And I got the.
That's a good pack.
And I got the manuals for all of them. Which the manual also had all the codes for it. Boom! That was
sweet.
I was set. And of course, in this one, you can play as Minion, the boss from the first one.
Yes.
And I did, and he is boss.
He is boss in that game. He is boss.
You will run over everybody in Twisted Metal 2. Great co-op too, because they had a co-op. You can do the storybook co-op, or you can go against each other.
Yep. Metal Gear Solid. It's pretty low. At 6.
Yeah, it is pretty low at 6.
Pretty low at 6. Everybody knows. That's where it all began for me. I'm sure that's where it all began for you.
As far as that series?
Yes.
Yes.
It was an amazing game. It was on a whole other level. When this game came out, you were just like, what is this? And you played through it and this is amazing. Wow. And you just kept going and played it over and over and over and over again. Oh, it was great.
Oh yeah, man, MGS is awesome. I can't say much more about it. I mean,
it's fantastic.
And VR missions. You can also get that. You can get that for the PS1 as well, and you can play as Gray Fox.
Yes.
VR missions
levels sucked. Some of those levels sucked.
Yeah. Fun though. I mean,
it's fun.
It really sucks for people who got that thinking it was a new Metal Gear Solid game, and it's just, did you really? Mm-hmm. And it's just VR stuff. I rented it, knowing what it was. Thankfully.
You can reach it.
Is this my 5?
I don't know.
Is this 5? I gotta look and see how many games I got down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5.
Okay, what is it?
Legend of Dragoon.
Oh, yes. Yes. I thought about making that an honorable mention. I really did.
This made the list because this is Sony's answer to FF7.
Fantastic game.
It's a great game.
Jeez.
It's their answer to FF7. Sony doesn't make too many RPGs.
No.
And there's a big fan call for to get that game made.
I am currently looking for this.
Yes, you have been. And I actually got really lucky. I got that back. I actually got that copy back in 2007 because I never owned it back in the day. Rob owned it.
Listen to this. 3 years in the making with a development team of over 100 members. Think about the games now. It's just like, wow, was that low budget, small?
That was
and that was big.
See, Sony put a lot of money into that because at the time JRPGs were just kicking, man.
They were.
Not just Final Fantasy either. You had other ones. You had, of course, had like Persona, and then you had other like Square ones like Dragon Warrior and Parasite Eve. And
this is just a fantastic game.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
And it came out like
2001.
Was it 2001?
I don't know.
No, it was.
No, let me see.
On it says 2001, but I think that's when the greatest hits.
So that would have to be
2000.
99.
99. I'm thinking 99.
Thinking 99.
Let's figure out which one it is.
And I tell you what, it says totally unique and innovative tactical combat system. Yes.
June 13, 2000 for North America.
Oh.
A little bit later. December 2nd, 99 in Japan. Europe got it in 2001. January.
It sucks for them. Yeah, it is a good game. Once I find it, I will finish it.
Shout out to game producer Shuhei Yoshida.
Mine, number 5, Soul Reaver.
Mentioned that just a couple podcasts ago.
I did. I love this game. It was Tomb Raider-esque.
I always thought it was like Tomb Raider mixed with Zelda.
Yes.
Because especially for like Ocarina of Time at the time, like how you like run around, you jump around, and you're doing all this stuff.
It was the you revisit a lot of places in this too. It's not like Tomb Raider where you travel through that stage and it's done. You would revisit a lot of these places later on, and I love the unique. It had a very unique thing. Like one of the things that I remember the most is the fact that you'd use air pockets, and as a Soul Reaver, you would use his cape to fly,
float,
and to float up into areas. Yeah. And there was one area that you had to time every movement just right to platform those spouts of air to get to the top.
Kind of reminds you in a way, it's not the same, but how they would do like God of War stuff later on, where you had to be precise with your platforming.
That's another game that I wish I'd remake is Soul Reaver.
Oh hell yeah. Number 4. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Awesome freaking game. The inventor of the Metroidvania, what it is called now.
Yes.
Where you have like your big open map, the whole thing of where you beat the game, and then you don't beat the game. You know what? I had played other Castlevania games. I played. I didn't play the NES games when I was a kid. I played the one on Super Nintendo, and that was Castlevania 4. And so when I rented this back in the day, I was expecting that. And it's not that. It's so much more faster and completely different. But I liked it more because of that. It was a little bit more action oriented and where you got to like. I got so lost in that game when I was a kid.
It's a good game.
And Nate, co-host of Journey to Comics, got this for me for Christmas.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Resident Evil 2.
Really?
That is my favorite game from the Resident Evil series. The first one is great. It's fantastic. But I believe the second one took what it had and it just made it solid and perfect, in my opinion. In that series, that's the perfect game from the Resident Evil series. It is amazing. Long puzzles, this being in the city, and it was great.
My number 3. Resident Evil 2.
Surprise!
I think that this is the greatest of the series.
It's the greatest. It's the best one we've ever seen.
I think this is the best out of the series as far as like the original style. 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica. 2 is the best one. I think it took what the first one did and made it even better. I love the original Resident Evil, okay?
Yes.
Because, okay, so I said this is the first game I ever rented, was Resident Evil 2. This game had just come out that year. And It was still pretty new. It scared the shit out of me.
Dude, you brought the DualShock one.
Yeah, I did.
You have all of them.
I have the regular version, and then I have the DualShock version. I don't have the greatest hits. Although I think this version actually has one of the greatest hits discs. Because, yes. So I have the regular clear disc, and then the black greatest hits Leon disc. That's just the way Disc Replay gave them to me. My Resident Evil 2 original version is my original copy that I got from a pawn shop in 2000. Because, as I said, I rented this, loved it. Scared me, but I loved it. And then I wanted it for Christmas. So I was going to get this game for Christmas with money I got, but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And for Christmas that year, I got Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. And I couldn't get Resident Evil 2. It was $40. Brand new PS1 games are $40.
Yep.
Miss those days.
I do too.
So I had to settle for a $20. And I got Resident Evil Director's Cut. And I fell in love with the first one. It's a different good.
Wow. What a mansion.
Exactly.
With the worst.
2 is the best one. If I had to tell anybody to play any of the Resident Evils on PS1, I'm going to tell you to play 2.
2.
I'm gonna then advise you, if you like it, to go play the other ones. Yes. Because they're great. And, the first one's it's hard to go back to the first one after playing this.
The first one, I feel like the first one forces the first zombie upon you. You have to fight it no matter what. Mm-hmm. This one, when you come out into the city, there's zombies around, and you can opt to run around them.
Well, okay, you don't have to fight the first one. You can actually back away from it and go back through the door.
Right, but you still have to go to that person.
You do have to go to it. Story. You do have to go to it, but you can turn around and leave, because that's what I always do. Because when you go back into the kitchen, or the dining room, if you're Jill, I always play as Jill. Why not? She has more pockets. I mean,
yeah, and she starts out with a Beretta.
Yeah, dude, she starts off with a knife. Anyway, so and then you get Barry. Barry's badass, because then you walk in there and he's just like looking around, like, what? And then the zombie follows you in there, and somehow they can work door handles. Yeah. And then he puts it down with his damn python, dude. Awesome. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 is not that game. Resident Evil 2 is awesome.
Number 3, Tomb Raider.
The original Tomb Raider.
The original Tomb Raider. 1 and 2 are great. But
dude, there were 5 Tomb Raiders on this system. Did you know that? There was 1, 2, 3, Last Revelation, and Chronicles.
Yep. I didn't like the fourth one. I actually had a lot of trouble with the fourth one, but the first one I made it all the way up to King Midas's hand, and I rage quit because I could not figure out how to turn the lead bars into gold, because it was literally a box you had to walk up to and click it, and she would insert it on the Midas hand, and if you would hit it in the wrong spot, she'd climb up on top of the hand of Midas and turn into a big old chunk of gold, and I couldn't figure it out, and I rage quit. And then 4 years later, I came back and beat it.
And then you went.
Yeah.
I almost put Tomb Raider on the honorable mention. But I really felt like...
Oh, I loved it. I felt like that was PlayStation, one of PlayStation's big hits.
Oh, no, I totally agree. I mean, the first Tomb Raider was also on the Sega Saturn. But, the PlayStation where it's at, and that's where all the other games are. They did get better as they went on. To go back and play them now is rough.
Yes.
It is very rough.
Very rough.
I will advise that for anybody looking to play this series.
Very boxy.
Yeah, well, as far as the controls are very just stiff. I tried to play one of them when I bought it. And trying to talk about video games, stop driving your motorcycle.
Go away.
It is nice out, though.
It is.
In comparative to just 2 days ago.
Yes.
Weather Report, brought to you by Game Addicts. My number 2. Metal Gear Solid.
Surprise!
Metal Gear Solid, great game. I borrowed this from a friend, and that's how I played it the first time. That is the first game, even though I played other games, but that is the first game that I got to a certain point at the end where you get some revelations put upon you that you have been totally screwed over by someone who's supposed to be on your team. Naomi. And at that point, you are trying to get the keys to stop a nuclear launch. And I knew that I had 2 boss fights left. Because, again, I mentioned earlier, Rob's Strategy Guide I had looked through before I even played the game. I didn't even know. That's how I knew about the ketchup.
Yeah.
That's how I knew to use the ketchup, because I remember saying one way to get out of the cell is to use the ketchup and lay down. And so that's how you did that the first time. But I could not. I was at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so tired. But I'm like, I cannot quit now.
Yeah, you're at the final push.
Oh, man, I did. I pushed through that game. I remember it being like 5 o'clock in the morning. My dad's like, what the are you doing up?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this game was awesome.
Worth it.
It was so worth it. I mean, okay, like other games I'd played. By the time I played this, I had already played FF7 and 8. And I played the crap out of them. I would even get up early on school days at 5 o'clock in the morning to play FF8 before I went to school. I remember I would wake up, go make me a bowl of Easy Mac, come back to the bedroom, and sit there and eat and play FF8 until about 15 till 7, because I think at 20 after 7 the bus came and I had to go and get ready for school. But
all right. So, my number 2 is Gran Turismo. It is... Gran Turismo 2 was the one that had everything pretty much perfect of that style. Mm-hmm. But the first one, I golded every license. I had every car. I had everything you could possibly have in that entire game. Same thing with 2. It is the game that I probably played the most over the course of the lifespan of the PlayStation.
Rob was really into Gran Turismo. I never got into them. I tried to play them. I didn't like the controls. It was very, the whole simulation. I'm more into kind of arcade racers. Right. I like those a lot more. I do appreciate the Gran Turismos, and the ones on the PS2, I played those a little bit more than I did the ones on the PS1.
Now, playing them now is terrible, because you're like, you push the button real slow, and it's like, you tap it. And I still am in that mindset, even to now. If I play anything with a directional pad that you can guide left and right, I tap it. Mm-hmm. No matter what, I tap it. I never hold it down. It's just because I played these so much, it's a turn. And I know that our number 1's the same.
It is.
Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and put that together.
No drama. Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, yeah.
As I said earlier, I actually do believe 9's a better game. But my nostalgia for this game is just too damn high. Because this game, as I said, I got this with Tomb Raider and Twisted Metal 2, and I hated this game.
Really?
Started it, and it was boring as shit.
Yeah.
So I had another game that with cars and guns, or boobs and guns. What am I going to play?
Boobs and guns first.
Yes. And then, this game got put to the side. And then I came back to it, because I told you that the reason why I wanted to get a PlayStation is because my buddy William had a PlayStation, and I loved it. I played that basketball game. He bragged about this game. And I had never played a Final Fantasy. I had never even really heard of Final Fantasy, to be honest. Because on Super Nintendo, I didn't play RPGs. The only RPG I ever really played any of on Super Nintendo was Super Mario RPG. I was more into tie-ins with movies, TV shows, or wrestling.
Right.
Or fighting games. I was into Star Fox. I liked Mario and Turtles in Time.
Zelda.
And Zelda. Oh yeah, Link to the Past, Castlevania, Mega Man X. But I didn't play Final Fantasy until this. This is my first one. And so when I got into it and got past the boring part, I was sucked in.
Which boring part? Which was your boring part? The first Mako reactor or the second?
No, the first. Like when I got back and they started actually talking to characters, I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
When they got back to Cloud 9?
Cloud 9.
Or the bar?
Seventh Heaven.
Seventh Heaven.
The heck's Cloud 9?
I don't know. Don't ask.
Cloud 9. His name's Cloud, you idiot.
I know. Stupid.
And this isn't 9, this is 7.
Shut up. My head's all jumbly today.
Well, we just got off work. I'll give you that.
It's there's no words can express the amount of love I have for this game.
This isn't the one with the misprint. I always check, even though I know it's not. This game, as we said before, it's got its faults. It's got some translation issues. It's got some localization issues.
It was my gateway to RPGs.
Mine too. I don't know if I played Pokemon before or after this, or during. Because they're around the same time, and I don't remember when I got which. Because Rob introduced me to Pokemon.
Right.
He introduced me to He had Pokemon Red. And then his friend had Pokemon Blue. And then that's how we played them. But that game, I'll never, ever forget going to fight Sephiroth for the first time down in the center.
Oh, yeah.
Of the Northern Cavern.
I'll never forget. Spoiler alert. If you haven't played this game yet, you better get on it. Or at least wait for the remaster. Eris's death.
I remember you telling me
that I never, because I loved her. I mean, you can't tell me that nobody plays this game who doesn't love Eris. She's that fun-loving, quirky girl in your party. She's your healer. She's your lifeline. Basically, up to this point, she's your lifeline. And you know, she has this epic life that, you know, she doesn't know that she's an ancient. She doesn't know hardly anything about herself. And
she knows that she's an ancient, but she doesn't know like her backstory.
And,
she wants to know more about the ancients.
Yeah.
Her mother told her she was an ancient and told her enough, but she died young.
Right.
I was more of a Tifa fan, and
Eris all the way.
And here's the thing: is that I didn't really cry or I didn't really get upset. I got more upset that I lost my healer than I did that I lost Eris. And then,
I was upset.
And then and it was many years later that I didn't find out till that Yuffie was almost as good a healer.
I didn't find out till you told me.
I know.
Recently, well,
a couple years ago,
like 4 years ago.
Man. Okay, so in this game, her death doesn't get to me. What got to me was watching Advent Children.
Oh,
and him dealing with it, and then the whole scene. Every time that they put her on screen with him, that gave me the feels.
Yes,
because that's a little bit of nostalgia there too. Because it's like I never really got too wrapped up around her death, but the nostalgia of loving that character, and then when they finally made that movie and released it in 04, 05, whenever they did.
I remember watching it. It was the first movie I watched in Japanese.
Yeah, same.
It was. I got it without no English. It was just English subtitles.
I had English subtitles. I downloaded it off of like LimeWire or Kazaa or whatever. And I'll never forget watching that movie. It was New Year's 2005. So it was like obviously going to be 2006. And we did a New Year's Eve show for Draxus, which Nate from Journey to Comics was in that band with me. And I was dating Caitlin at the time. And I remember I set it up to download while I was gone, hoping that it wouldn't fail. And then I got home and it was done. And I stayed up even longer.
And watched it.
And it was awesome. It was so awesome. I was so riveted.
The remake, the complete, like
yeah.
where he tweaks it and adds more with Zach, and that's fantastic.
They include Denzel's backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. The complete version's available on Blu-ray, and
I like the way that Final Fantasy franchise makes new stories each time.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't like the fact that they make new stories each time for this specific reason. Now they did do like the Dirge of Cerberus and all that stuff, and Crisis Core, but it's still not 7.
No, but it like especially not Dirge, but Crisis Core is probably the closest that we've gotten. And even that, it's different.
It's different, but it's a great story.
It added so much to Zach.
So much story to Zach.
And therefore to Cloud, too, because you get to see everything that led up to that other than just that little snippet.
It's more on Sephiroth of like his fall.
They added it, and they added in Angel and Genesis to the story. So this is my original copy, not the original case. Now, the paper and all that stuff, that's my original. But the one cool thing about PlayStation discs is that they're all CD case based. So as long as you have old any CDs laying around, you can get that. This is the original, my original manual. It's pretty worn. Yeah.
With my girl in the back.
Yeah, and then little high wind.
With the high wind.
Yeah, dude. Love it. Absolutely love this game. As I said, I kind of feel like if you're going to play, man, I hate to say that. If you're going to get a PS1 or if you have a PS3 or PS2 or a Vita or a PSP, if you ever plan on playing any of these, like if you want to do 7, 8, 9, I would recommend all of them. Honestly,
I would recommend 8 last.
Probably yes. I still have a soft spot for 8, but 8 is the most confusing.
I hated 8.
I love parts of the story in 8. It gets really good at like a certain points. And the gameplay is like you said, they make all new stories for each game. They make all new systems for each game, gameplay systems. Because the materia system is in this, and then in 8 it's the whole summon system where you have all these summons, and you can The drawing is tedious, and it is, but that's also you can beat the game at I think the lowest recorded the level for beating the game is 16.
Wow.
And
is that just because they keep drawing and drawing and drawing?
No, because the enemies scale with you, and then what you do is that you can get Diablos as soon as you can get Diablos.
Yeah.
Level him up to get encounter none. Now you have no encounters, and you don't get any XP for boss fights, but you do get AP for boss fights, so you can still level up your GFs. The cool thing about 8 is that you can have your GFs learn stat junctions where you can draw magic, stronger magic as you go through the game, and that will increase your stats.
Yeah.
That is cool, because then it's like if you're going to the game, you can make this game a lot easier for yourself.
Yeah.
By doing that, because then you get a buffer, and then you're always ahead. Like the enemies, but man,
I hate it. It was
part of me wants to say start with 9.
Either I would say for a better start of a story, definitely 9. Definitely 9, because 9.
This is a little slow for like the first 10 hours.
Yeah, for the first 10 hours when you're in Midgar, it's kind of jumbled and everything's a little confusing, and then once you step out of Midgar, you get the cutscene that gives you more
flashback.
The flashback and now Tifa is kind of like, what's going on with Cloud here?
My copy of 9 that I have down there is not my original copy. Shake fist.
You sold it. I have no originals.
Now I'm going to playfully call out somebody. A friend of this podcast. He's been on this podcast. You were not on that episode. That was at Villains Con.
Wes.
No, it wasn't Wes. It was Daniel Connor. Hey, buddy. How you doing? I never got my FF9 copy back from you, buddy.
Give it back today.
It's long gone now, I'm sure. But we did a little trade where I never played the 10-2, and you wanted to play 9. And then we did a little swap, and I gave you back 10-2. And I don't know if you just forgot, but it still hurts my heart, man.
Still hurts. Hurts in the fields.
I remember him telling me at one point, I think that one of the discs didn't work, and I vaguely remember having problems with that at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Like disc 4 was being faulty. And it wasn't even scratched. It was just kind of faulty. It was just like doing stuff where it wouldn't load.
Right.
So I don't know if that was an error with
an
error with the disc or not. I ended up buying my copy of 9. I'm not gonna get it out. Actually, yes, I am. Oh no! He went flying. I had them all stacked here all nice.
I see it. It's behind you.
All right. What does that say?
Oh, well, it says Final Fantasy IX.
What else does it say?
Greatest hits.
What else does it say?
Square Enix.
What?
Square Enix. Yeah.
This happened in like 2000, 2001. After this game came out. This game was still published under Squaresoft. Mm-hmm. This is a re-release. I don't know what year. They printed after the merger. They did reprints of 9 and 8. I have my copy of 8 is Square Enix.
I think mine are Square Enix. I think 8 and 9 are Square Enix.
They never reprinted 7.
And 7 is Soft.
They never reprinted 7. The original copies of 8 and 9 are Squaresoft, and the reprints are Enix. I got 8 and 9 for $30, brand new sealed. 2007. So $15 for each, brand new sealed. I mean, it was so cool in 2007 to like get a brand new PS1 game and open it.
Yeah.
I bought a Resident Evil Director's Cut because I lost my copy. I don't know where it went, and I ended up buying a new one of that as well. It would be like, how cool would it be to buy like a brand new copy of that back then and just keep it sealed? You know, it'd be hard to because I didn't have it. Now see, I have 2 copies of FF8. I have my original one, which the discs were starting to get too scratched.
Right.
And then when I found this on eBay, it was $30 for the both of them, or $20 for 9. And I'm just like, I'll pay the $10 extra and get an extra copy of 8.
Right.
So I still have my original 8. Now, see, I could probably take those to. I think Family Videos still do disc cleanings. Like they'll pay like $1.
Replays for free.
Is it for free?
Yeah, I go in there with this and all the time. Well, for us, I'm pretty sure it's free. As much as we
I hope so.
We're in there so much. The guy's like, "Sup? Hey, can you clean this for me?" Yeah, sure.
Cool. I'll have to remember that because I think my original 7 discs are. I know they work, but they're probably rough. They need to get some touched up. Now, again, just a little heads up: if the PS3, any model of the PS3, completely compatible with discs.
Yeah. You
could put any PS1 game in; it will work. There were some issues when the PS3 first came out. I'm pretty sure they patched all the ones that matter. Because I know FF9 had like a big issue with graphics or something, where like on some screens it would just glitch out and it would just be like a big color blah. But they did do updates and fix that on that. But if you get any model of the PS3, all the way from the big fat to the super slim, they'll play all of them. You can do digital memory cards, and you can also download them as PS1 classics if that's what you want to do. It might save you a couple bucks too on some of these. I actually did that before, even though I had copies of these. I went in and just got them digital. So that way I didn't have to put the discs in.
I think what I will probably do is do a Vita run through, but not leave it in this. Make sure I save it and not
just put it on standby all the time.
Standby.
Yeah, currently I'm playing through FF6 this is my second attempt. Last time I played through FF6 was on the PSP Go, and I was transferring the saves back and forth to the TV into the PSP because I would put it on the PSP to go to work and grind and do fights, and then I would take it home and play on the TV to play the game. And then when I sold it to you, I forgot to transfer it, and I lost time.
You lost a lot of time, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it wasn't terrible, but by that time, it's that kind of like the thing where you just go.
Kind of like mine, where I was at 7, and I had just got my gold chocobo, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go grind and put it in standby. And 25 hours later...
I didn't have 25 hours. I didn't grind that long. But it was just a matter of I was disappointed.
Master Summon Materia. That's what I went for, Master Summon Materia. And basically I was mastering all my Materias to take on Ruby and Emerald.
Yeah.
Because you need to have those mastered to go in there and play around.
Yeah, I didn't get that far into 6, but it was still disheartening, and it's a thing where it's like if you lose, it's hard to start over.
Yes.
Or go back, and then there was something else I wanted to play, but I'm working on playing through FF6 Advanced on the Game Boy Micro, and I need to get time to play it. Hopefully, I can play it maybe tonight or tomorrow, because I want to try and beat it before Zelda comes out. But
I am pre-ordering Horizons today.
Are you?
Yes.
Awesome. So
I want it. I really loved Primal, Far Cry Primal, and this looks basically like almost a spiritual successor, but not a successor. You know what I mean? Like it's got the same.
Yeah, it's completely different.
But it seems like it's going to be the same. I don't know if it's going to be first. It's not first person.
No, it's third person.
I like the game. I like the.
It looks cool.
It looks very interesting.
And and it's kind of cool that we're both going in different routes because that means we could both have something different to talk about. In that regard.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to talk about Resident Evil.
Oh, did you play Resident Evil?
No, the movie.
Oh! You know what? We can do that next time.
Yeah, we can do that next time.
It's no big deal. I've got something to talk about next week.
Yeah.
Was there anything else I was going to say?
Dead to Rights is not a PlayStation.
Dead to Rights is not a PlayStation game. I don't know why you thought that. Dude.
I don't know why.
I can see it. I can see it kind of being a PlayStation-esque type game because it's not great. Like the controls are very stiff.
I loved it.
Well, you loved it, but apparently you loved it on the GameCube. You didn't love it on the PS1.
That's the only place I had to play it because I never owned a PlayStation 2 ever.
That's a shame that you never owned a PS2. There's a lot of games that you missed.
I mean, you think about it. I ran the PS1 about as long as I possibly could. Well, I could have ran it longer. And then the GameCube, I believe, dropped down to like $150 or $200. I think it was $100. And my dad's like, "Hey, you want one of those?" I'm like, "Sure." I
got the GameCube as a second system because I went with the PS2 because I thought the PS1 put such an impression on me that I'm like, I want Final Fantasy X. You know, I want the first game on PS2. You know what? We'll talk about that. We're going to do a whole episode on PS2, yes. which will be different because you didn't own it, so it's going to be largely like my memories of it. But, you know, don't feel left out.
I haven't even really played other than testing some of the PS2 games that I have.
So maybe we'll talk about it right here at the end because there is something that could be happening that could kind of change the flow of the podcast.
Yes.
So you put in for a job offer.
I did.
And if you get it, your schedule's going to change and get busier, which could affect you being on the show.
Yes.
Now, what I want to say is that it's not that Mike won't be on the show. It'll be when we can arrange the schedule.
My schedule becomes erratic. It is not a, 6 to 2:30 anymore. It is a swing shift. I will move as the units need to be moved.
Right.
Because I will be trialing brand new units at our factory. Therefore, if they run on nights, obviously I have to be there to walk them through on nights. So we'll see how that works.
I mean, I'm hoping because our original record day was Sunday. And we've been moving it around as needed. If just for
it just makes sense if we work Friday,
work Friday
or your house or
we just move it around as needed, just to make it easier for us. But like as a backup, it was always on. Okay, let's do it on Sunday because we're both available.
Yes.
And so if you're not in there on Sunday, then we can still do it.
Right.
But if you're going to be there, I have talked to Rob. Silent Rob, he's been on the show. He was on the episode that was up in Hammond when we met up with Nate and Veronica.
I don't travel.
Apparently you don't.
Apparently I don't travel.
Apparently you don't travel at all. And of course you didn't go to Villains Con either. But
and you know what I won't be going to this year? LoftyCon.
Yeah, especially if you get that.
I will try to fit in as much time as I can because I already said I was going to do it. So basically whenever I'm out, I'm jetting over. But
we'll see, dude.
I might be on third shift at that time.
Yeah,
so
it all depends. But I've talked to Rob, and Rob will set in, and he will be here. And so it's cool because these retrospective episodes that we do where we focus on a certain system, and that's kind of what we talk about.
With Rob, you've got more of a personal... I mean, you guys went through this together.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting.
If we do PS2, since you didn't own a PS2, we might just go ahead and do that. I don't even know because, I mean, Rob is on a different shift than us. So
he is looking to come.
He's looking to come to day shift.
Yeah.
And so that'll make that easier because, then, I mean, of course, Sundays will work anyway.
Yeah, for all of us.
For all of us. Oh, hopefully.
Not me because we work Sundays on the pilot team.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's one available and you don't work because... It can happen because you can say, "Hey, I don't want to work today." Not necessarily, not that, but you can sort of say. I remember talking to Fisher, and he was able to get,
Sometimes you can move them around, but it all depends on what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's possible for you to be here, you'll be here. If we need to do a show without you, we can do a show without you.
If it's a work instructions day where you're primarily sitting in the office working on new work instructions, I can see them kind of pushing it back. Because you can fill in time later, but...
Right. It's all going to vary, and it's not necessarily guaranteed at this moment, but it's a high probability.
Very high probability.
And so I definitely wanted to say that we don't know when that will take place. It could be weeks. It could be...
It's immediate. So if I get an interview for Tuesday, it's immediately after that. It's in effect. So probably Friday I'll be...
Gone.
Yep.
Well, interesting. Well, I mean, I'd love to have Rob here. I remember Rob was very hesitant to come on to the show at first, but I'll break him. Well, I'll break him of his little podcast nervousness, and maybe we'll fit in some of the old sort of live stuff that we used to do together, like some of the Tranks and stuff. Me and Rob used to host a podcast called Sort of Live, where we would try new foods and stuff, and maybe we'll kind of.
Is that like 4 episodes?
Of Sort of Live?
Yeah.
No, we did 8 or 9.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have them all here, I think.
Yeah.
There's episode 0. SOL down here. 8.
8.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we did 8 episodes of that, and that was up. Me and Rob shelved it to think about working on another project, and it never materialized. So we've been talking about sort of doing that again. But if he's going to be on this show, we could just focus on Game Addicts. Maybe at the end of the show, we'll try like a new drink or something.
Yeah.
It'll be sort of the Sort of Life podcast.
It'll be sort of live podcast.
Anyway, guys, thank you for checking out this episode. Hope you love the PS1 as much as we do. Hope you guys subscribe to us on iTunes. Subscribe to us wherever we're available on Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play Music, and on YouTube, because you can watch us for some reason if you want to look at our ugly mugs. I probably don't look very good.
I wear the hat because I like really bad. The hat and the hair is just...
Dude, my hair, I thought I brought my hat, but I didn't. I'm getting a haircut today or tomorrow, so.
I am too.
I'm getting it completely
buzzed. Nice and clean for the next.
And I'm gonna trim up my beard, dude. Okay. As a side note, nothing to do with anything. I'm sitting there and I'm eating peanuts and sunflower seeds, just the kernels though.
Yeah.
I mean,
the shells suck.
Well, I used to love them as a kid, but they're too much work now.
Yeah.
But so and Wyatt's like, he wants a bite. And so I'm giving him like a couple of the smaller kernels, and he's like, making his face, and and he's like, I'm like,
you just didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
What are you doing?
And I'm sitting there just going, that way he can't reach it. And I had seeds or kernels in my beard. I'm like, digging it out, like.
That's still good.
So it's time to trim up. It's time to shave. So next time you see me, I'll look a little handsomer, hopefully. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Game Addicts podcast. We've definitely loved reminiscing about our memories of the PS1 and games that may or may not have been on that system.
And making fun of me every time I'm wrong.
I love you, Mike.
I know. I blur things together so badly.
Yeah. You made this list up in the other room.
It literally, while you were setting up, I'm like looking at my games.
Hopefully, next time we do one of these together, you'll be able to like fact check yourself or do double checks or maybe even have a time to make a list.
Well, yeah, because literally when we talked about this the next day, I didn't get home until 8, and then the next day I had my dentist appointment and I didn't sleep. It was my birthday when you told me about that.
It was your birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And then I had to do the test, and of course, you know how I get with testing. I stress out so bad. Like, I know that I can pass it, but I stress. I stress under pressure.
Man, I'm tired.
But, yes.
Go check us out on social medias that you don't take part of. Go check us out on Twitter, Game Addicts Play, Instagram, Game Addicts Play. I've started posting. I posted
I bring nothing to the table.
I posted a picture on Game Addicts Play. It's a really cool picture of like my PlayStation and the controllers I showed with some of my favorite games, which may or not have all been these. Go follow us on there. We're on Facebook at Game Addicts Play, and YouTube. Just search Game Addicts Play or Game Addicts Podcast. We will come up. Some of those episodes may be on the Journey to Comics page. I'm working on getting those blocked for now. That way we can, because all the episodes, episode 1 through now are all on the Game Addicts YouTube. And starting with episode, was it 12 or 13? I think it was 13 was we started doing video. So
yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for checking out this episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. Have a good one, guys.